Managing diabetes is not just about cutting sugar and carbs. It's about making smart food choices that nourish your body without causing blood sugar spikes. Fruits, often perceived as sugar bombs, can actually be a part of a healthy diabetic diet, if you know which ones to choose. In this personal experiment, a diabetes patient of 35 years embarked on a 20-day fruit challenge, eating the 7 most popular fruits and testing their effect on his blood sugar. The findings may surprise you and could change how you approach fruit in your diabetic meal plan. Why this matters. For many diabetics, there's a lingering question. Can I eat fruit without sending my blood sugar on a roller coaster? To answer this, our experimenter looked at net carbohydrates, which is total carbs minus fiber. He also considered the glycemic index, or GI, which measures how fast a food spikes blood sugar, and of course real-time blood sugar response, testing glucose levels an hour after eating each fruit. Based on this, each fruit was categorized into a traffic light system. Red bucket, eat sparingly, spikes blood sugar significantly. Yellow bucket, moderation, some rise, manageable with planning. Green bucket, blood sugar friendly, even generous portions are safe. Let's dive into the findings. All right, let's talk about the red bucket. These are the fruits that spike blood sugar fast. First up, bananas. Now, bananas are rich in potassium and vitamin B6, but they also pack a serious carb punch, with about 23 grams of carbs per 100 grams and only 3 grams of fiber. That's 20 grams of net carbs, a lot for anyone monitoring their sugar. The glycemic index is 51, which is moderate, but the result? A significant spike in blood sugar. While the GI alone isn't terrible, the high carb count makes bananas a frequent culprit in post-meal glucose spikes. Here's a tip: half a banana may be manageable. Full bananas? You might want to think twice, especially if you're insulin dependent. Next, grapes. Grapes are known for their antioxidant content and hydration benefits, but nutritionally, they're sugar bombs in disguise. Net carbs come in at 17 grams per 100 grams with a GI around 59, and it can go as high as 70 in very ripe grapes. The result is a steep blood sugar spike within 40 minutes. Grapes can shoot blood sugar levels upward fast, even more rapidly than bananas. My tip? Eat grapes in strict moderation or just avoid them. They're particularly dangerous if eaten alone or in large quantities. And then there's watermelon. Watermelon is a controversial fruit in diabetes discussions. It seems innocent with its refreshing taste and low calories, but it's honestly one of the trickiest fruits to manage. Net carbs are 8 grams per 100 grams, but the GI is a whopping 76, the highest of all fruits tested. The result is a lightning-fast sugar spike. For example, a small bowl took blood sugar from 100 to 150, a larger bowl from 100 to 200 in just 30 minutes. Despite its lower carb count, the high GI and lack of fiber make it a dangerous choice if portion control is ignored. Here's a tip. Eat it after a fiber-rich meal to slow sugar absorption. Never have watermelon on an empty stomach. Moving on to the yellow bucket. These are the fruits you want to eat with moderation and strategy. Let's start with apples. Apples are high in vitamin C and minerals and are generally considered a safe choice. And they are, but not without a few caveats. Net carbs are 12 grams per 100 grams with a GI of 39, which is low to moderate. The result? A noticeable but moderate spike in blood sugar. The spike isn't alarming, but it's still significant enough to require attention to timing and insulin dosing. My tip: a whole medium apple is usually fine, especially if you pair it with some protein or fat. Just remember to monitor your blood sugar afterward. Now, oranges. Oranges, like apples, are nutrition powerhouses. They're full of antioxidants, vitamin C, and water. But how do they affect your blood sugar? Net carbs come in at 10 grams per 100 grams, and the GI is 45. The result is a moderate sugar spike, less than bananas or grapes, but more than strawberries or avocado. Overall, oranges are safer than many fruits, but still require a bit of caution. Here's an important tip. Avoid orange juice. A single glass contains the sugar of 2 to 3 oranges, but without the fiber. This results in a much higher GI and a faster, more aggressive blood sugar spike. Now for the green bucket. These are the blood sugar-friendly fruits. Strawberries were honestly one of the happiest surprises in this experiment. They're sweet, satisfying, and surprisingly low in sugar. Net carbs are 6 grams per 100 grams with a GI of 39. The result? A very mild spike, barely a blip on the glucose radar. Packed with water and fiber, strawberries are an ideal snack or dessert for diabetics. My tip: eat them whole. Avoid smoothies. Blending breaks down fiber, raises the GI, and leads to faster sugar absorption. And finally, avocados, the ultimate winner. Surprise! Avocados aren't typically associated with fruit, but botanically they are. And honestly, they're the absolute champion for diabetics. Net carbs are only 2 grams per 100 grams, and the GI is just 15, the lowest on the list. The result? No noticeable blood sugar spike, even after eating large amounts. Avocados are rich in healthy fats, fiber, potassium, and other essential nutrients. In fact, the fiber content, 10 grams per 100 grams, is so high it nearly offsets all the carbs. Here's my tip. While avocados are carb-safe, they are calorie-dense. A medium avocado has about 240 calories, great for satiety, but something to keep in mind if you're managing your weight. Why GI and net carbs matter? So to understand why some fruits spike blood sugar more than others, it's important to grasp the concepts of glycemic index and net carbs. Glycemic index, or GI, measures how fast a food raises blood sugar. Foods with a GI below 55 are considered low, 56 to 69 is moderate, and 70 or above is high. Now, net carbs are the total carbs in a food minus the fiber. Fiber slows digestion and glucose absorption, which means, smaller sugar spikes. The best fruits for diabetics are usually those low in net carbs and GI. But here's the thing, personal response really varies. What spikes blood sugar for one person might barely affect another. That's why, honestly, real-time testing, like this 20-day challenge, is so insightful. So what should you take away from all this? Well, this experiment was more than just a diet tweak. It was, honestly, a pretty revealing look at how even natural sugars can affect blood sugar levels in different ways. Here's a quick summary of the fruit buckets I used. First up, the red bucket. These are the ones to limit bananas, grapes, and watermelon. These guys cause sharp blood sugar spikes for me. If you love them, hey, you can still have them, but just stick to very small portions, and ideally, eat them after a balanced meal. Next, the yellow bucket is for moderate options like apples and oranges. These are kind of in-between fruits. With a little planning and maybe some insulin adjustment, they can fit into a diabetic diet. But caution is key. And finally, the green bucket, which has the best choices, strawberries and avocados. These fruits are blood sugar friendly, delicious, and packed with fiber. They're your safest bets, and honestly, you can eat them more freely. So, final verdict, what's the best fruit for diabetics? The green bucket, honestly, has a few great options, but if I had to pick just one, avocado takes the crown. It's pretty much carb-free, super low on the glycemic index, loaded with fiber and healthy fats, and get this, almost no impact on blood sugar, even if you eat a lot. Plus, it's incredibly versatile. You can have it as guacamole, sliced on toast, tossed in salads, or heck, just eat it straight with a spoon. But here's the catch. The best fruit for you is the one you'll actually eat and enjoy, and that keeps your blood sugar in a healthy range. For some folks, that's strawberries. For others, it might even be apples, if you're careful with the portions. All right, here are some practical tips for diabetics who love fruit. First, eat fruit whole. Try to avoid juices and smoothies, since blending or juicing destroys the fiber and makes the sugar hit your system a lot faster. Second, pair your fruit with protein or fat. Eating fruit alongside healthy fats or proteins, like nuts or cheese, can slow down sugar absorption. Third, time it right. It's best to eat fruit after meals or as part of a snack, not on an empty stomach, to help minimize glucose spikes. Fourth, test your response. Use a glucose monitor to see how your body reacts to different fruits because honestly, everyone is a little different. And fifth, watch your portion sizes. Even the healthiest fruits can spike your blood sugar if you eat too much. Living with diabetes doesn't mean you have to give up fruit. It just means choosing wisely, getting to know your body, and making informed decisions. This personal 20-day experiment really gave me some powerful insights, and I hope it helps anyone out there looking to eat healthier without giving up the sweetness in life. So whether you're making guacamole or just popping strawberries into your mouth, you can enjoy fruit and still stay in control of your blood sugar. If you found this helpful, maybe share it with someone you care about. And as always, talk to your healthcare provider before making any big changes to your diet. Oh, and if you'd like a version of this article tailored for seniors, insulin-dependent diabetics, or even translated into Bahasa Indonesia, just let me know.